I want to share something special today. Today's a special day, so I decided to walk 6 miles tonight. I got sort of some type of, you know, some type of dress wear, pattern matching Halloween. So I put like a mask on, a scarf over my head. Like I went out like this, right? That's what I did. Like I had this like this, right? Sort of gray. Yeah, I took off a gray shirt. This used to be like gray. This over the top, right? This was my Halloween costume, right? This over the top like this, and then gloves. No, resembling jihadi or school shooter style. Just, you gotta go with the leather gloves, school shooter shit, and the mask. Yeah. Where is it? I had it right now in my hand. Where the heck did it go? Hold on, my back still so hurts. Why the fuck my back's hurting? Right now on, and it miraculously disappeared. All right, what's the mask? What the fuck is the mask? Oh, goodness. Ah, here it is. This mask. Wait, let's just quickly recreate how I looked at for Halloween this year. Basically, this I'm gonna place like this. Right? Like this. Let me just put it right. And I have I have gray shorts. So it isn't that good. So this is the mask. Like this. Right here. Right? This, like this, which is already from the previous foot. And then the beanie. Like this. The beanie, keep everything sort of together. So I walked, right, like 6 miles, and before, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, my town would have been crawling with kids at 9 p.m. I left my house like at 9, right? And the streets were fucking empty. I seen one mask, like a bunny, and there was a tall person already. And I think she even gave me the finger for staring. She even went like this to me. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'd seen 2 trick-or-treaters with bags with candy. And that's it. So I started combing the neighborhood. 9 p.m. a ghost town. Back in the day, where I'm at right now, fucking place used to be popping. I'm guessing 25, 26. Popping. But I mean popping 60, even at 9 p.m. on a Sunday. It should be, maybe it's just a day or whatever. It had to be like Friday or something like that, or a weekday. But it's it's the fucking weekend. Something should be different, but it was fucking empty. So I started looking through the houses, looking for candy. So there's my loot. Let's show the loot. I started eating on my way here. I had like a couple pieces. Let's show the loot. So I got loot. Came through. It's probably not going to be as much as this, but we'll see how much loot I caught. I'm going to start just filling this up. See how much candy I found. Open this shit. Yeah, so that's it. I went trick or treating. This is all that I could find. Luckily, I still got sight, but no kids, nothing. Nah, you're probably just gonna watch me eat candy. I'm a fat fuck. I'm a fat piece of shit. Let's keep looking. What do we have? What the fuck? A Kit Kat that glows in the dark? What the fuck? Starburst. I was eating some fucking chalky candy, some sweet tart or some shit like that. I'm like, tastes like cannabis. I might get high as fuck from this. Like that. My mouth giving me cannabis vibes. Like, what? This candy was laced, my guy? Yeah. I was having one of these sweet tarts original, and one of them tasted like straight cannabis. I'm like, wait, this shit tastes like weed, my guy. My God, am I gonna get high now? You know? I'm gonna get fucking blasted? I'm gonna get shade immigrated now? But yeah, nothing else. Nothing else is available but these candies. So I got these candies. I got tarts. I got M&M's. I got Skittles. I got Reese's Pieces, son. No way, I got a peanut butter pumpkin. I got Kit Kat. I got a Reese's peanut butter cup. I got more M&M's. I got Twix. I got Starburst. The fucking Laffy Taffy, the king of them all. This is what's up. This is the motherfucker. This is the Jesus. This is the Holy Christ. Holy Trinity of candies, soft candies. That Laffy Taffy doesn't get any better than this or Now and Laters. It's either this and Now and Laters. This straight prison caviar and shit. You know, you sipping on this, you sipping on life. You know, you sipping on straight life. So I'm gonna have this strawberry Laffy Taffy because they're just fucking yummy as fuck. They are. I had one on my way here and a bag of pretzels. So I think I have, not yet. I had a bag of pretzel that I probably ate already. The sweet tart and a Laffy Taffy pretzel. Oh, and a Twix. It should make me moist. Laffy Taffy, baby. Laffy Taffy. I got cherry blow pops, classic grade school shit. But Laffy Taffys, sweet tarts, that's all that classic grade school, middle school shit. I didn't get much, but my talent. Oh, I got one solid. I got the craziest foundation. Old school shit. Sugar Daddy. Old school shit. This and Mary Jane. Old school candy. Yeah. Snickers. Look for the rare. We're looking for the rare pieces. Rare Pieces, Twix, that's about it. Milky Way. They aren't much. Gotta have a black charge under light Kit Kat bar. And they glows in the dark. The wrapper apparently glows in the dark. So yeah, at the walk, I still sort of feel the middle of my fucking back in pain. The center of my fucking spine, not the top, what's broken. Not my fucking tailbone, but right in the fucking middle. What the fuck that shit is. Okay. I'll watch me eat candy. So yeah, I have fun. To get this though, 6 miles. It wasn't easy. And it was early too. I left the house at 9. Shit should have still been popping, you know, like the street should have been crawling with people looking for candy. One trick-or-treater. I was saying, hey, people that were out there, hey, you gotta keep the, you know, you gotta keep Halloween alive. So yeah, times are changing. I told them, people, old people, I'm like, bro, 10 years ago, on the other side, 60, 50 kids. But now, empty. It's like all these kids grew up and nobody lives here. Oh, they're all dead. COVID either relocated or all these kids die or something like that. Maybe age. And nobody else is, there's no kids in the area. Point blank. There's no children here no more. And it's a fairly big town. No fucking children. It's pretty fucking weird. Fucking amazing. Free candy. I searched for them too. I searched for them everywhere. Looking for lighted houses, deep into residential zone. Looking if they have a bucket. There's a bucket, a skeleton around the decoration that it's like a walk-in, take some and leave. I was being fairly modest. I was just camping a couple candies. I wasn't gonna go all out and dump the entire content of the, just grab some and go. I found a lot. I definitely found a lot, but I didn't take them all. I took some. Oof. Strawberries, what? Strawberry Starburst. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, candy. Candy. It's some serious shit. Halloween shit. Happy Halloween. Happy trick-or-treating. Hope you guys went trick-or-treating. You guys aren't that old. I'm almost 40 and I did it. So if I did it, you can do it too. Holy shit, there was a huge festival on the 28th, 3 days ago, Rolling Loud in the city. Holy shit. Fetty Wap, a major drug distributor. Check this shit out. On Rolling Loud, in the Rolling Loud concert, Fetty Wap was caught by the feds because of some informants, some snitch, allegedly saying that Fetty Wap, the blind rapper, single eye, one. I'm pretty sure most of you hip hop heads know who Fetty Wap is. Allegedly, the rapper Fetty Wap, which is technically a disabled person, disabled, single eye, blind in one eye rapper, and unnamed accomplices. I don't know how many people, but you gotta have a lot of fucking manpower to do this type of bullshit. Allegedly, Fetty Wap and alleged accomplices. I don't know how many you need to do this type of shit, but check how much fucking information they got on Fetty Wap. The FBI. The document states Fetty Wap and unnamed accomplices distributed more than 100 kilos of hardcore drugs. 100 keys, son. 100 keys. We're talking about 10, 25 million in that shit. Street value. Including cocaine, heroin, fentanyl pills, and crack cocaine. Across the New York and New Jersey area to the West Coast. You fucking serious? So Fetty Wap was a major weight puller underneath all these guys that are straight, good peoples. That's some serious shit. So the FBI caught Fetty Wap about to do what he does, because the guy looks harmless. Talking about a guy without an eye, or just it looks harmless. Like, yeah, what is Fetty Wap gonna do? He's missing one eye. Nah. Mr. No Eye motherfucker be moving 100 kilos of narcotics. And I'm pretty sure they bought or sold to an informant. We got some real hard evidence on him. And the feds caught him at the show. Bruh. FBI caught him with 1.5 million in cash and guns. He's officially charged with one count. Said the affidavit said officially charged with one count of conspiracy to distribute and possess a controlled substance. But Fetty Wap doing life in that motherfucker now. Wave that motherfucker goodbye. Bye Fetty Wap. I thought your trap queen shit was gonna be fire. Nah. That man's was dangerous. And he looked harmless. Nothing that shit. He was fruity. Just like just strawberry Starburst. Fetty Wap's career was fruity, just like what the fuck is this guy's name with the blood Jordans? Hold on. Blood Jordan. Hold on. Right. Little Nas. Now, you notice how Little Nas is fruity like that? Lil Nas X. Fetty Wap just like that. Fruity. Almost queer-like to the media. Music with that same tone, with that same fruitiness. And look what they do behind their back. Look what the Fed caught them with. And you think that the Fed is going to go loose on them? Just because you got good lawyers and you got people who fucking defended Gotti or Carleone or fucking whomever the fuck the lawyers defended in the past within their 50, 60 years of, public defendant or, private lawyers and shit. That's the thing with criminality. They think that they can get away with it, and then you realize that the most harmless of motherfuckers, the most harmless of these motherfuckers, the elderly, old adults, queers like Fetty Wap, people that look fruity, people that look harmless, are the most fucking dangerous. Lucky to me, what the fuck I got the fucking pink graffiti? What the heck do I got that's mean as shit? Have you ever fucking caught me fight? Ever? Physically aggressing someone? Either self-defense or on aggression? It's impossible for good people to fall on those traps. It's nearly fucking impossible for people who are good to fall on that criminal trap. Let alone getting to fucking bricks and guns without getting caught. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. This guy thought that he had them paid out. This guy probably had cops on the payroll. Or they knew and they let that shit slide. They let that motherfucker slide. With all that cut that motherfucker be using. Because that shit ain't pure. You fucking say 100 fucking keys. That should be put through a laundromat. That shit fucking in New York City coke. Bruh. That should be beat through baking soda and Enfamil and God knows how many pills. That shit ain't a middle market. It ain't a middleman's market. In a middleman's market, like in a third world country, cocaine will be high and pure. We'll get you fucking high, zooted, slowed down, all types of shit. In the city, these guys are fucking likely distributing 100 kilos of baby powder. And that's real talk. That's off top. Probably moving baby powder, cut shit. Not pure. They wish it was pure. So you gotta be closer to the real one. The real little one. They start flipping that shit into one fucking brick. Millions. Cutting that shit up. Mixing that shit with a bunch of powders. Pressing that motherfucker. Taking a hydraulic press on that shit. Inside a metal pipe. Pushing out the stone between the fucking the pipe bomb and shit. Some real shit. It'll never be like a middleman's cocaine. The city is nothing. Just you're not snorting fucking cocaine unless you got it from Silk Road. If you got it from these drugs in the city or whatever. If you got them from Tor, or you got them from if it's like a Dutch Connect, if it's like a black market through the internet, distributed to an Airbnb through the mail, then that shit's 100% whatever the fuck they claim. But street shit, bricks from the street, son, They be selling you bricks this big, the size of a fucking 16-inch pizza, and it's straight bunk. Straight fucking caca. Shit that they shovel on the fucking ground and shit and cut it with a shovel. That shit ain't good. Saying that they're fucking distributing 100 bricks. And then it's the most harmless motherfucker. Fetty Wap. You look at Fetty. You think you see that Fetty? Do you think Fetty's a fucking drug kingpin? You know? How many men do you think Fetty Wap had behind him or underneath him? Including cops, because you know DTs and cops are in on it. How many men do you think fucking Fetty Wap is in? Because they're mentioning him. They're not tying him to some organized fucking gang. They're not mentioning a gang's name within the New York City area. They're just mentioning Fetty Wap and his friends. How many friends? You know, what type of organization between the Chos and you know the Blues and the Reds and the affiliates and GD and all that bullshit. All these motherfuckers that run shit in there, in the prison and on the street, have fucking Fetty on that shit. You know, it's always the most harmless motherfucker. And this coming from a kid that knew 6ix9ine. You know, 6ix9ine it wasn't that harmless, because 6ix9ine was, you know, it's a New York kid. So when it's a New York kid and his small stature, they tend to be a little bit more aggressive based on what they need to do to other people to defend themselves, especially in that type of environment. So you get bigger, a little bigger than me, a little heavier and shit. They stop fucking with you because of your stature. You know, like you're not an easy target. You know, 6ix9ine's a little bit shorter in height, therefore he has to be a little bit more aggressive, based on just how New York City is. New York City is just disgustingly aggressive. Everyone is a fucking tough guy. So you look at fucking 6ix9ine and you're like, are you a trafficker? In this conscious, knowing him 3-4 years, nah, you ain't no trafficker. You had to traffic drugs to sell your label, you know, to pay for it, to pay for your CD. That's why you did it, you know. 6ix9ine almost got caught with trafficking, or he said it, like, bruh, I sold a kilo of heroin. He got caught with that, admitted it to it, but it was just for his music career, you know. It's transparent. Why did he do it? Not because he wanted to be some fucking hardcore thug. I wanted to move hella weight. It's because he wanted to be famous. Not because he wanted to be famous, but he understood the cost of maintaining his franchise or maintaining his name as a music artist and a label and all that shit. And it's cash money, you know you gotta pay. So, and he was involved with 50 Cent before and all that shit. So, it's the cost. An artist, in this example, Alexa, can you make the light blue?
Okay.
An artist, in this example, is gonna take the fucking risk of dealing some pot or some fucking coke or some heroin just to pay for whatever the fuck he wants to do. It's like a young band, you know, like a fucking young band, a bunch of teenagers and shit. They gotta sell tickets, or they need gas money, or they need some stupid shit, or they just need people to come in through the door, and they pick up selling pot right there outside the venue, like that. But fucking what the feds gonna do? You sit out there, you're trying to get people in the door to come watch your shit or listen to your music and shit. You're sitting there with a dime bag of weed. Hey, I got weed. Come here, listen to my shit. You know, you're attracting them to you. You're attracting that street energy towards you. So what 6ix9ine did, what Danny Hernandez did, was absolutely fucking justified. You're already a fairly solidified personality on the street in New York City, because 6ix9ine was known by everyone. 6ix9ine worked in every fucking kitchen I've been around it. I seen 6ix9ine work in the Chinese restaurant. I seen 6ix9ine do work with subs. I seen 6ix9ine make his own fucking food at McDonald's. I seen 6ix9ine. You know, Danny is known by everybody in the fucking Manhattan Island, everywhere. It's just the fucking multicolored hair kid at Union Square, or in Times Square, sometimes in Brooklyn, and sometimes within parties in Brooklyn, or whatever. But it's mostly Union and Manhattan. So he did it. Why did he do it? Because he had to sacrifice some costs. He had to make some money to do what he did with his life. Hold on. Let me put the jiggler on so this should stay working. He did it because he wanted to fucking pay. You know, he wanted to not look good, because I'm pretty sure he didn't get any money out of doing that shit. He likely lost money because he was already under a record deal. You know, he was already under a label. He was already receiving help from big celebrities already. They're already putting him on videos. He was hanging out with Trippie Redd. Nicki Minaj was likely just giving him a bunch of money. Those people give a bunch of money. Cash Money just gives money to whomever the fuck you're with. Like that, just to not put you on, physically put you on, but just for you. Money. And it's your decision if you want to take it or not, and what happens if you take it or not. It's in your conscience what you do if you take money, and you know, it might come back and ask you what you bought with your money. Let me get some, you know. Or whenever you have money, after they do that type of shit, they might come back and ask for money or beat you with a tire iron. You never know what the fuck's going to happen here. But you could tell the idea. Why did 6ix9ine, and considering their age difference, look at Fetty Wap. Look how long Fetty Wap has been in the industry. Look at when Fetty Wap, look what Fetty Wap got caught with, or they pointed at the finger at him with. 100 brick distribution with a couple of his felons, a couple of his friends. That's a lot of time. That's life right there. Fetty Wap ain't going anywhere now. And then compare that with measly fucking brick of dope. Because of Daniel. Out of nowhere. It's a brick. And I sold the brick, and that's all I did. God protect me. I told the truth. That's it. And they probably even sold the brick. I wouldn't even doubt 6ix9ine finished that entire fucking brick, because that shit would last an eternity. One single brick, this should be an eternity of fucking drugs. An eternity. So, him himself said, I sold, in one statement to the feds, I sold heroin for 10 years. Or the heroin that would surmount 10 years in street value, right here. You know? Like that. That's exactly what it said. That's what 6ix9ine said to himself right there. Well, like, bruh, I sold enough heroin to distribute Manhattan or Brooklyn for 10 fucking years. In one single way. You know, one way. Likely affiliated with the Treyway kids or whatever. And when I was around him, he wasn't fucking Treyway. He was yelling Treyway just to hype people up. Sometimes he would yell Treyway. Me sitting there, Rihanna there. The actual singer, Rihanna, right there. Midday, Union Square, summer. Sweaty as fuck. Bummy as shit, eating from whatever. Riri right there with us like that. Riri, the actual fucking Rihanna right there with us. And he wasn't a big criminal, you know. He was out there too long, for too much of an amount of time out there that it'd be impossible to consider that motherfucker a drug distributor. You were with him for so long every day, it would be literally impossible for you to think the man was under some bullshit. No matter if he sold weed, coke, heroin during the day or behind your back, it'd be impossible. Not a Fetty Wap's level. Fetty Wap's level is a menace to society. You know, 1.5 million in cash on you. Like, the fuck? Can you explain that money at least? Where that money come from? And you know that guy isn't a big mover, or his music doesn't move that much. You know for a fact, Fetty's shit. I would think Fetty's entire case was a setup. He was just there in the wrong time involved with these guys. Just a setup. They set him up. That could be the best idea. 100 bricks on that shit. But that's the rationale on these motherfuckers. It's the one you don't know. The one that looks queer, the fruity motherfucker, be doing life for 100 keys. 100 keys and the distribution network. Explaining the feds up in that motherfucker, explaining how these people from the 5 boroughs got to California, got the weed, and came back after moving the fucking shit. And you know that if they were moving product, that shit wasn't hard. You know that shit was softer than a motherfucker. You know that shit been stepped on. That shit dandruff. That shit dandruff, son. You know? If it's coke from New York City, that shit dandruff. Or fucking shaved ivory soap. Yeah, that shit ain't one you were supposed to get. Like, you see all these big busts on YouTube. You know, people getting busted for cocaine. You see bricks that are this fucking big. That's all fucking cut. You know, that's all fucking cut. That's straight cut. You know, that's like the 5th, 6th hand. That's like the 3rd person that did the same exact shit trying to double their money with the weight. The 5th time that multiplying, the doubling up happened. And because it still does something, it's sold in mass. They just wholesale that motherfucker after stepping on it. Or it could be one single distributor cutting that shit 5 times, one single kingpin or whatever, through a bunch of people cutting that shit up 5 or 6 times. Or it could be many kingpins making purchases and trying to make a profit with this bullshit, making a fucking brick that's this fucking big, that's like fucking a massive amount of cut narcotic. And then the cop would go in that motherfucker and test it and check, and it's like a light baby blue. It's like, ooh, a kilo of drugs. Not recognizing that fucking, more people not recognizing that massive package is something that's this big and this thin. The real shit. 232. It's this long and this thin. About this wide. How do I know? Because, I'm from Puerto Rico. You see busts. And the individually wrapped, how an individually wrapped kilo looks like. They're really tiny. They're not a fucking 20-inch television. 20-inch by 4-inch television. You know that as time progresses, these drug dealers, or these groups of drug dealers between all types of sect, be trying to double their money in some type of way, continuing, pressing the product out into the street in greater quantities until it gets diluted, until it's dandruff. New York City shit, dandruff. Ivory soap shaved up, and pills at the same time. Just bunk. Garbage. Garbage. To a real fucking cocaine user, that'd be heaven. Heaven for a motherfucker. Oh, smell delicious. Oh, and make my tongue numb. But then for a fucking seasoned vet, it wouldn't even make him fart. You know, a seasoned vet would snort that shit. He wouldn't even have to shit. He'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" You know. And then you got these guys that are sitting there trying to make pipe bombs with that shit. Not pipe bombs, but you know, trying to press the product with heat to try to make it rock again, to make people more attracted to the product or whatever, you know. Trying to apply so much heat and pressure by pressing it up, a little bit of oil comes up and starts grabbing the cut a little bit, making it seem that it's nice and hard again, but it isn't fucking hard. You know that shit isn't good, especially up in here in the United States. If you're talking in Mexico, you know, if you're talking about, you know, if you see a brick up in Mexico and it's absolutely white and it's stone, you know for a fact that shit could have likely came from Perugia or from Colombia or from some bullshit country like that. Closer to the source, absolutely. If it's big as fuck and it's near the source, that's the real shit. That's like a big motherfucking multi-kilogram of narcotic. But over here in the United States, in the middle of fucking Ohio and shit, that's the 6th, 7th man. And they make it look all professional. They make it all beautiful to the authorities or cops. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at that fucking 8-pound stone of cocaine. That shit's all cut. You know, the drug is the drug still, but it's been going through so many hands since coming through port, since coming in a stone or an avocado. You ever seen all these motherfuckers be supplying that shit now? Inside avocados. They look like avocados. Inside there's avocados, but the fucking seed is cocaine. All types of shit. Whatever way these motherfuckers be taking a semi-truck, a 13-wheeler full of stones, and try to disguise cocaine inside a freight truck full of stones. So you got fucking, you got DEA and the FBI and the motherfucking Border Patrol hammering on stones within all these fucking rocks to figure out which one has the fucking cocaine inside. These guys are serious. It's real hard work to get it inside. But once it's here, it's trash. And then people like Fetty Wap, they look like they look like they were innocent. You know, you wouldn't think no queer person or no Lil Nas X or any of these people that are, you know, fruity to end up doing life for fucking bricks. It's fucking crazy. And this is happening everywhere, my guy. This is an epidemic. If you know, if Fetty Wap is involved and he's absolutely harmless with guns and $1 million in cash, because you look at Fetty Wap in his videos and that, he looks fucking harmless as hell. Somebody you could probably chill with every day. He isn't no massive gang member from Chicago or some shit like that from some random really dangerous gang and shit. Nah, Fetty Wap's just Fetty. You know, Fetty Wap could be there next to you at lunch every day. You get to know the person, and he doesn't seem like a person that would stash guns and and 1.5 million in cash getting caught by the feds. But they fucking every day they catch it. They go, you know, the cartels and people make them fall on that shit. They grab another new guy, and to get to 100 fucking bricks, my guy, that wasn't overnight. Fetty Wap's probably doing that shit since he was little, or like I said in the beginning, just likely just got set up in that motherfucker, doing life on that shit. There we go. The fucking his attorney saying a big misunderstanding, like the fuck, you know. The Fed gonna grab you, it's like, yeah, you're distributing coke, weed, heroin, you're distributing everything at 100 keys. Got you with 100 keys, my guy. You gotta come with us. Like, what the fuck? You know, like, and you look at a person, it's just some fruity. Like, nah. Just society shouldn't be like, and you expect the person to be doing all these type of hardcore shit. The big thugged out gangster, you know, the big burly tattoos on his ass, tattoo on his neck, 300-pound rapper that everyone's afraid of everyone's afraid of, has crazy bars and raps about murder and death every day. You know, murder, death, gun, drugs every day. And you look at Fetty. What Fetty doesn't even rap about none of that shit. And he's doing fucking life for 100 kids. That shit funny as a motherfucker. But that's life. That's how you see it. That's how I see it. It's the same way. The enemies that I got in my life, you know, the literal enemies that have come to me and tried to harm me are for some, they have been always have been enemies, always. But then, as you get a little bit more famous and you get a little bit more older and you start generating more envy from people, the least likely motherfucker, the least likely to succeed, the beta, the cuck, the whatever, the, how do you call it, the beta, plain and simple, the ugly guy, the person you thought that was your friend forever, and you used to know that person since you were young and kind of ugly or whatever he wasn't that successful. That motherfucker is the first one to pick up a gun and try to kill you. And you know, society and life continues bringing that bullshit out on people. The least likely to be coming out to do that bullshit, or the least likely that your conscience would think as a threat would be the first one with a knife in his pocket or with a gun, or be the first one to pull the trigger. It's crazy, you know. And then you're not hard because you're not claiming you're hard. You just know about it. You know a little bit about your environment, what certain people do. You know, you grow. You know, you're not a victim of your environment, but you sort of know what bad people do and what good people do. You have like that particular taste, and then having that taste, having that knowledge, recognizing that there's good people and there's bad people, and there's good people that do bad things like sell cannabis, cocaine, heroin, or whatever. You put someone that's absolutely not in the list of shooting someone or trying to murder someone and be the first one in the list for money, envy, greed, you know, trying to move up, trying to claim they hard to somebody, you know, trying to look good in front of people that are pressing them to do this type of shit. And it sucks. Because always, life continues to give you these types of surprises. Right, so he supposedly deals drugs in his raps, but does he look like a seller? Does he look like someone that would hustle you a crack rock for $9? Nah. Fetty Wap don't do that shit. Well, the argument here, not the argument, but the ad, or the author of this article started now talking about the shit that he raps and what he's claimed. But do you think Fetty Wap's about it? Fetty Wap ain't about it. That's the persona shit. That's just like 6ix9ine. How I met him. 6ix9ine was just a kid that around me turned into some gang member for Treyway behind my back. Out of nowhere, sitting next to me, from no Treyway the sort of Trey. Listen to this shit. 6'9" from no multicolored hair, just blonde, next to me, all day, every day, eating whatever, hanging out. To from blonde to fruity, from fruity, not fruity, but you know, multicolored hair, Tekashi. From there, hanging out with 50 Cent, hanging out with Treyway all of a sudden, yelling Treyway, getting signed, Nicki Minaj out there. I remember Nicki Minaj, I remember all these people. Getting signed to Cash Money, getting a bunch of tattoos in his face, or slowly getting tattoos with a super skinny Cardi B, until I left and he got arrested. And that was before he was famous. That's basically, you know, the CD would take 4 years for them to finish it and approve it and master it and all this shit and distribute it. So the CD that came out in 2016, that shit started 2010, 2011. The drawing of I remember him drawing the CD cover. All that shit took an eternity, and that's on top of him landing in jail and all that shit. So they take time. If I want to be an artist and I want to, you know, having his luck as an example, I would take 5-6 years for the whole for the final thing on, you know, for the final CD to be available. It's a lengthy process. You take a long fucking time to do 1 or 2 albums. It isn't like overnight. You make an album, you have all the music, and the next day it's in the CD. That shit ain't like that. So yeah, Fetty Wap's gone now for life, and it's another victim of his environment, or it's just technically another victim of a persona that he had to adopt, and he took it a little bit too serious, in my opinion, because Fetty Wap wasn't a guy hustling fiends $3.75 for a $5 crack rock. No way, my dude. Fetty wasn't that guy. He claims he could be that guy, but he wasn't that guy. And then that's across everywhere. Those people have really tough circumstances that they do certain shit. And artists with the background of success or whatever ain't from those environments. They pick up that shit after. And just an argument that's been brought forth back and forth. Artists don't want to be, and like many artists aren't just drug dealers and then rap about their shit that they do drugs before they were dealing when they end up big and shit. You know, these people aren't drug dealers first and then artists. It's the other way around. They become artists by luck, by giving them chances, by giving, you know, society giving them a chance, and then they turn drug dealer. They turn bad all of a sudden, or through the paths people could take in life. You know, they have a bunch of paths like that. They're going a little bit more to the left than to the right side of doing things. A little bit more freedom, a little bit more money, just because of this and that. And they end up losing their rights and their freedom. I'm curious. I'm so curious which side Fetty Wap is on, or if he was the actual pin on that shit. Because, you know, he ain't gonna snitch. You know, Fetty ain't gonna snitch. He gonna lead he's gonna start a red herring on some type of gang that he was in. He ain't gonna say the truth. Saying the truth is hard for everyone, especially dealing with, you know, people that could kill your kids, or the cartel, or this and that. They have everything everything to people like that who are put on that position that it's life. They in their brain they already have that backup, that plan B in their head. They're not going to tell you who it is. They're going to just put other people within another gang in the limelight. Fetty is if he wants to be called a snitch, gonna tell on people that wasn't it, or sort of it, but not really the real people. So you got people that are still menaces. His selection process on the people that he's going to mention are likely going to be criminal, but they aren't going to be the real people. And it happens all the time because you gotta protect who you gotta protect in that shit. I mean, you're gonna tell, but it's like murderers. That's your friend and shit. Are you gonna really tell on your fucking friend because he's a murderer or some bullshit like that? In someone's rationale, they won't if it hasn't fucking affected them. They don't need to say shit. But if it's affected you and that motherfucker put a gun to your face or some other bullshit like that, then of course you're gonna start talking like a parakeet. You tell all because you aren't affected. But Fetty, those who bullied him, pressed him for money, robbed him, are the people that this guy's gonna be snitching on. I don't know which gang from which side. There's a lot of gangs in New York City. It could be from any one of them. But he ain't gonna tell you the whole truth. He's gonna give you some. He's gonna start throwing out dead fishes on the middle. And some people gonna drop. Or some people already dropped. Like I said, the fucking article said a couple people of them fell. But 100 bricks? How many people do you need to move 100 bricks of that shit? How many motherfucking bricks do you need to move? How many heads do you need to move? Like, Jesus. And imagine the cartel on you for payment. Crazy, right? Crazy shit. And the cartel on you in the morning, chapo on your door like, hey, el dinero, dineros chavos. Sí, el dinero, ¿dónde está la? Y la moneda está aquí. La moneda, sí, aquí, la moneda. Oh, shit. 1.5 million right there. Like that. The guy comes in, takes like 60, 80,000 and leaves. And you come back and continue putting more money on that 1.5 million. That's all I'm thinking. That's all I'm thinking. He wasn't by himself. You know for a fact, this guy 100 bricks working with fucking Chapo. Where's your money at? Right there. Oh, right there. Where's the money and go? What surprises me the most is the least one that you would think was doing this shit be doing it under your nose. One thing is having a heroin plant in your backyard or a fucking weed plant and some grow out. And you taking the crop from your own fucking dope right there, little by little. Like people in Afghanistan do, like motherfuckers take the poppy seed, not poppy seed, but the opium bulb and shit. Make cuts every day extracting that fucking juice from that shit. They have 40 bricks of heroin. 40, a whole wall. Tiny little motherfuckers. Bunch of paste in that motherfucker, nice and squared, pressed and everything. And then dealing with trafficking. These two people you gotta look at. I defend the cartel for that same exact reason, because that's what they do. That's how they make money. If they were to legalize all drugs, they wouldn't be a problem. They would actually line your pockets with money. Just like in old times. Like, Put me in a position if I was like the pharaoh of Egypt and shit, and I had a bunch of slaves under my command. And what do you think they did in the Middle East? What do you think Egyptians fucking cultivated? Look at all these documentaries. Opium, dope. That's what they did. They had jars and jars. Basically, if you look at Egyptian pottery is literally resembling the poppy bulb. Lots of pottery from that entire area was technically jars and jars and jars full of that fucking shit.
Downtown Pozland area is 2.2 square miles and its water area is 32.2 acres.
Shut up, Alexa. So yeah, if you look at these ancient fucking civilizations with slaves, that's what they did. Instead of having paste, they're just waters, jars of fucking opium, of drugs. If they knew they drank that shit, they get high or whatever. Just a cultivation of something. That's why I defend the cartel outside like the death and the murder and the damage it causes to society. But if Fetty, in this type of situation, was a farmer, that distributed 100 bricks, just like Chapolin, just like Chapo, from his backyard, from his farm, I wouldn't give a fuck. You can't give that man 25 years for something it's his fucking life. You know, that's what they do. That's what they do in Afghanistan. You can't arrest. Do you think they're currently arresting people for life in the Middle East for trafficking fucking heroin? No, they're not fucking doing that shit. That's their fucking life. That's what they do. And if Fetty had his own opium plant here in the United States, a fucking small 2 acres of this shit, slicing his shit, making huge wads of paste, or maybe even cooking the fucking shit to break and transport to California or whatever. That's his shit. Yeah, it's still trafficking drugs, but it's less severe than involved in the trafficking of it. You know, it's way less severe than reselling it or manufacturing it to sell on another hand, because you're not, you know, it's not like the grow up. It's not like you have a little weed in your house or whatever, and you're growing it and you're selling it somewhere else, or maybe you're moving it. Severity increases if you're tied to like the cartel or whatever. Like, you can't blame the cartel for what they do, in my opinion. My opinion, they can't do shit. That's what they learned how to do. That's in their blood. Going up that motherfucker, getting like 25 females, pay them really well to go through the field, start making slices on that poppy every single day. That's what they do. You're not going to stop those motherfuckers. That's what they get paid for. That's all they do. They do nothing else. And then you look back in time. You know, you take a narrative analysis on this shit. You look back in time. That's all these motherfuckers been doing. We're just looking at the war, and you know, I'm looking at the drug war in a particular lens. In a wrong way wrong in a certain way, and then could have been done better. Fetty could have not been involved in 100 bricks. Could have done something else. You know, we know he needed money to cover for his artist costs. We know for a fact that was it. That was his premise. It wasn't because he was. It was Fetty's problem is likely just like 6ix9ine, a little bit more deeper in the shit. A little bit more deeper in the shit because they let him slip a little bit. They let him go a little longer rather than catching him out right now. Fetty's premise for getting into drug trafficking is to maintain the fucking money habit of the artist. No more, no less. He wasn't no drug kingpin. He wasn't no drug dealer and then became some fucking artist. That story don't match. That shit ain't it. It's backwards. Most of these artists today are turning to be about it after they become artists. Meaning they got all this money from the record deal, all this and that, all these loan money, and they go and they die on these executive producers. They die on the street thanks to getting into the game because they're rich and famous and with money. God damn, I'm eating candy like a motherfucker on the stream, son. Betty doing life. And if he was a farmer, or if he was an actual member of the cartel, just take the drugs and take basically what instead of charging them or killing them on the street, just take the drugs and walk away from them. Just like how do you call it? Just like a seasoned cop would do to some kid smoking weed behind the high school. Instead of arresting them and fucking up their life, you tell them to dump the fucking weed on the ground and step on it. When they're fucking scared shitless, you're about to give them a little, you're about to send them to county jail or probation or some shit like that for smoking or rolling up or some shit like that. You're sitting there, seasoned vet, police officer catching these kids smoking behind the high school or whatever. You pull up behind them. You know exactly how to pull up. You know exactly how to pull up and stand right next to them when they're toking. You just pull up behind them, just like, "What's up? What are you guys doing?" And they freeze and they start getting scared and shit. It's like, yeah, and you'd be like, "Yeah, you guys smoking pot, right?" All right, just. You got any more? Like that. Not searching them. You got any more? Show me all you got. Have them search through the shit. Dump it on the ground. The kid proceeds to grab his baggie, his 20th, the hydro or whatever. Put it on the ground. All right, now step on it. Smear it nice. Get rid of it. Step on it real good, and then the kid would be like that, like a horse, destroying the cannabis on the pavement, and you'd be like, "Don't let me catch you here again," and that's it. That's what a seasoned vet would do, and that's exactly what they need to do to the cartels. That's exactly how you would get rid of all this gun problem and all this tension and all this fucking violence and all the shit and just let them kill themselves. That's what they do. They have fucking pickup trucks of people, malicious, literally malicious, with M240 Bravos, M240 SAW magazines, American belt-fed machine guns in that motherfucker from both sides, Estatal and the actual cartel, shooting at each other in sets and cliques or whatever between groups. Some of them well paid. Effectively slaughtering each other with a couple box of bullets, which is hard. People don't have they don't have as much ammo as we got here. Think about that shit for a minute. In Mexico, people die more and they have less ammo. Here in the United States, with an insane amount of ammo, people don't die as much as over there. I'm talking about these people get slaughtered over there with 2 boxes of bullets. They're effective. They're extremely effective. They come here with like a couple, over there. Here they have, how do you call it? Tommy gun magazines, 30 clip extended. They got all that shit here, full of bullets, hollow points, a selection of bullets. Over there, these motherfuckers be killing each other effectively, slaughtering, their objectives with little ammo, just like a militia would. They're extremely effective in what they do over there. So, over there, So they're wasting all this power, all this shooting at each other in the street, all this shooting at each other with helicopters. You should see how the National Police of Mexico shoots at cartel members from helicopters, just like if they were insurgents. And you got the cartel members shooting at from the ground to the fucking helicopter. Real crazy shit. You would solve all this tension in Mexico by treating them like that seasoned vet. Get rid of that shit. I don't want to see that shit no more. Like that. Oh, we're gonna take this shit now. Like that. No tension, no shooting, no gunfight. Just take your shit and walk away. They're gonna do it anyway. But there's no need to prosecute them or do none of that. And the violence would dwindle, all that tension would dwindle. And Fetty's fucked. We'll continue back on Fetty. 100 bricks, son, dealing with Chapo. Absolutely Chapo. Bruh. And you know for a fact, he's the least likely. He's, right? So you're looking at someone that's the least likely to be involved in the shit. With 1.5 million in cash, long guns, and the feds on you. Because you're on the move, moving stuff, like, bruh. That's funny shit. That's some funny shit. And if it's a misunderstanding and it's some fake shit, just to give him clout, good. Scared good people into it. People start wondering what the fuck Fetty Wap involved in. Wait, what? Like, what? And you look at Fetty fruity, you know? Fetty isn't hard. Like I said, Fetty just be out there with you. Fetty be out there with you in Union Square and you wouldn't even notice him. He'd be right there. He isn't someone that has that macho, drug dealer presence. You know, big dude, 300-pound dude dealing nickel bags of cocaine this tiny. You know, defending their turf and shit. That shit don't happen no more. It's the other way around. It's always the artists be getting in trouble with drugs after they get famous. They be trying to do that shit for clout, for fame. They be, you know, considering they bout it, they got the money to be bout it after. Anyways. So yeah. I walked 6 miles today. I don't know if I should go to bed now, take a shower. I gotta make sure the center of my back. Oh my goodness, I ate so many candy. I ate all types of candy. I feel like a little kid that actually went to Halloween right now. Oh. Right now I feel like a kid who went and trick-or-treated. There's all types of candies in my guts. Sweets, tarts, candy bars, chocolates, sweets. Oh my goodness. I'm feeling all type of... in my life, I've met probably the most important drug dealers in society. I've met Chapo. I'm a guy that's been around Chapo for a little bit. A couple times. Not one time, but a couple times. I recognize faces. I'm pretty good with faces. DPG, Dread Pirate Roberts, which is the owner of Silk Road. I was around that guy. That guy was popping. That guy had a quadrillion of Bitcoin around us. He was bragging about his Bitcoin. Dread Pirate Roberts, the owner of Silk Road, was around us bragging about his Bitcoin or looking for people to buy him some Bitcoin. He was out there with the Silk Road on him. The escrow money. I seen the escrow money or the escrow wallet live from that same Samsung computer that's in the CIA museum or the FBI museum in Virginia or in fucking Washington, D.C. Silk's Road Samsung light blue computer. Right there. The fucking wallet. I seen that motherfucker. That Bitcoin wallet had so many fucking nines on it. It was crazy. Just nine, just to infinity. And that was the operation of Silk Road. I was there. I witnessed. My memory is immense. I got a lot of memory and a lot of chin. So what I don't have in brain, I have in chin. So I got like a double chin, right? And the chin area, or the fat chin area, serves as lubrication for the cranium. I got an extra lubricated cranium. So I seen that. I don't forget a face. I don't forget a face. Edward Snowden, Julian Assange. A lot of heads. My eyeballs don't miss. I'm the special agent. I'm like Robert Mulder, but a fat Robert Mulder. Look how fat I am. Or this is just the angle that I'm sitting on that's making my head. I don't know what the heck made my face so fat. It's likely just shaving. Having to shave a lot. Shave, stretched out. All of the flesh from right here. I'm like a FBI special agent. Let me see another name that I remember that I also met. This kid right here. What was his name? I remember this kid. And this is a real drug dealer. This is a real one. Hold on. What's his name? His car. What the heck is his name? Show more. Cos NYC cocaine. Hold on. Cos Marty. Cos Marte. Yeah, so. Oh, yeah. Cos Martin. I remember that kid. And he's another famous drug dealer from New York City. A famous one. And I remember him likely in his prime. Hold on, let me see. And he was free. He was free when I met him. He likely just got out of jail. This boy right here. If he was 29 on 2015, 29, I met him when he was probably 26, 25, Cos Marty. And he had a whole documentary about his cocaine selling business with business cards and multiple cell phones and all that shit. I met this guy too, and I met this guy at Union Square. I didn't know he dealt coke, but I never forget a face. You know, I never forget a face. Call me like someone that's extremely special in terms of that shit. My eyeballs, my brain, even the way people talk. If I know someone and they're next to you talking on the phone, I recognize that voice immediately. It's something that the brain quickly picks up. So Cos Marty was another one of them fucking kids that's a very serious motherfucker. Alright, so when he was 23, that's 2009, right? If he was 29, hold on. '29 at 2015, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 6 years. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. 2010. So they let him out within a year. Or I knew him, and then he locked up, and then he was free. So I likely knew this boy, Cos Marty, when he was popping. So he was at the end of his fucking coke distribution shit. And the kid turned into a personal trainer. And this is one of the guys I met at Union Square. Or just Cos right there. And I saw the Vice documentary. It's like, yeah, I started like a phone. I started dealing weed when I was 13. And then I started selling cocaine when I was 17. And then I started making up, this is his story. I started making up fucking business cards and clipping a sample of the product with my phone number on it. And then my phone couldn't stop ringing. So I got another phone. And the second phone couldn't stop ringing. So I got a third phone. And that third phone couldn't stop ringing. Like that. That's Cos. He used to hang out within the group at Union Square. He used to be one of them fucking kids. Me, Post Malone, fucking a bunch of people there. And Cardi B used to be there. You know, people with some of them with a lot of money, some of them still poor, about to blow up and become famous. But from the scene, from the area, you know, if I were to be homeless, not homeless, because I'm never homeless, I just don't have a place to sleep tonight, I would hang out in Union Square every day. Every day. And I likely wouldn't be this fucking fat. I would likely be skinny. Not skinny, but all of this wouldn't be here. You know, all of this gained lubricant, brain lubricant wouldn't be there, because I'd probably sweat and all of that shit would go back to wherever the fuck that shit belongs, by walking the city and having to hustle a little more. I'm just a little lazy. I just sit here all day. But I still walk. I walked 6 miles today. My body's just storing fat in particular ways. And here looks good. The body's like, yeah, store some shit right here. Not in your belly, because my belly isn't big. If you look at me in the mirror, my body's alright. I'm not too fat, but there's not too much fat. You know, I'm not flabby. There's no flab anywhere. I don't have excess fat anywhere. I might look like everyone has a little belly, but it isn't fat per se. My chin is more fatty than my entire body. Basically, this is where I am. This is likely where I am most fat. Or what makes me look the most fat, right here, the face, the double chin shit, the Porky Pig, triple chin, quadruple neck, feed me hamburgers neck, like give me hamburgers, hamburgers. But yeah, Cos was one of those guys, and his shit was popping. And he didn't look like the part. You know, he didn't have a bling. He didn't have a fucking Bentley. He wasn't. When Cos was around, Young Ma was around. Pop Smoke was around. Tentacion was around. Even Fat Joe. And they outshadowed his bling and his energy by 1,000,000,000%. And Cos would look normal. Just like you see him right there. Normal. And he's a drug lord. Like, just normal. You look at him like, what's up, chilling. Another day out here sitting on this pole, enjoying another night of the breeze in New York City in the heat in the summer. Like, yeah. Young Ma's there dripping in nice. You know, Fat Joe right there dripping in nice. Pop Smoke dripping. Everyone's just chilling and blinging. A bunch of artists and celebrities in and out of the place. And then Cos would be there, and you wouldn't, you know, Cos wasn't like DPG or Dread Pie Roberts with his open laptop and like $1 trillion in Bitcoin, right? $1 trillion or more, $1 quadrillion in Bitcoin right there. It's just chilling, just him, like that. You're like, what? Like, yeah, fucking this guy. And then you see him in the videos, like, oh my goodness, I know you, you know. It's like me and Chapo. Me and my, it's how I recognize that Chapo was a major guy. Years later, it's like, oh my goodness, see la la, what the fuck, like that. That's my surprise with Chapo too. Like, what the fuck? Chilling with Chapo, and the things he did, because Chapo was kind of crazy around this. Chapo, in 2 occasions, I met him in La Perla in Puerto Rico, right? And he was quick with his pistol. He had a pistol on, you know, and not that everyone should have fucking pistols in Puerto Rico. Nobody really has guns in Puerto Rico, but this man had a really special gun. He had a chrome-plated, super special, encrusted with white and blue diamonds. We're talking about diamonds underneath the clip. And we were just fucking drinking in that motherfucker, smoking cannabis late night. You know, we're talking about sitting in La Perla, which is in the capital of Puerto Rico, underneath the hood or whatever. Chapo was there, and he didn't have the cap and the look that, you know, that Chapo looked like the Chapo. You know, he was showered. He looked like a campesino with like a button-down shirt, white, a dress pant or whatever. His hair sort of like kind of long through here, and a cop barely pulled up in front of him, barely, like this. Like, he fucking sitting here, right? Imagine like a building like this, or like an intersection. There's an intersection, and Chapo's right here in some alley, bro. The cop is coming through here, right? Just the hood of the car. He sees the hood of the car. This man's wings his pistol. Doesn't shoot it, but just aims at the cop. And the cop didn't even notice this guy. The cop's just like, and Chapo like this, aiming at the cop with the pistol. Mid-hangeo. Or, you know, mid-drinking, partying, smoking. You know, everyone's already baked and drunk or whatever. Late night. 2, 3 in the morning, a little later than this. This is still early. Place be popping. More like 2:30, 2:35, almost 3 in the morning. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this guy like, damn. And he swung that motherfucker super fast too. That super special went out from that man's waist like suck. Like that. Like suck. Like suck. Like quick. Not like pulled out. Nah, like oh, and just sitting there sipping your drink, getting up past some cannabis, smoking some cannabis, sipping your drink, looking at this action like, this man, yeah, real shit. And Chapo after that started yelling at this window lady, likely where he was staying right there in La Perla, going, El chamoy, el tajín. El chamoy, see, el chamoy. They fucking arguing, looking for the seasoning tamarindo powder and tamarindo sauce and chile powder. Just motherfucker asking for condiments here at 3 in the morning. Wants to eat something. Chamoy y el tamarindo, like that. I'm sitting there like, damn. Fuck it, I'm drunk, baked out of my mind, just staring at this mud. This is this is my first encounter with Chapo. First time. Just asking for that shit, and in his hand, well dressed, the super special, diamonds out the ass, you could see that motherfucker. But I mean, you could see the blue in that motherfucker at night. So imagine how bright the white diamond, blue diamond combination on that shit was. You can see that shit at night. So imagine how bright that shit was. You can see his pistol in his back, well dressed. On his right hand, asking for this fucking lady, or having an argument to get the condiment and the tamarindo shit. On his right hand, a huge sack of fucking oysters. He's packing like 60, 65, 70 oysters in that shit. And you can see them, they're fucking oysters. He has a hand holding a fucking bunch of oysters, like a whole sack. You know how an onion sack is like really big, 20-pound sack of onions? Imagine half a sack of onion, half a 20-pound sack of onions, the big round kind, full of fucking oysters, and having an argument 3 in the morning to get the chili powder and the tamarindo. I'll never forget that night. And then I couldn't. And then I didn't. After that, I didn't see him anymore. Like, he disappeared for a little bit. And then I didn't see Chapo for a little bit. But months passed, and then we were playing pool in Bayamon, right? Bayamon, technically, literally in Puerto Rico, literally out from the highway into the main Bayamon Avenida, because Bayamon, right there in the middle of Bayamon, within the highway between, right before you get to Isla Verde and right before you get to Área Metro in Bayamon, there's a lot of pubs, there's a lot of drinking holes and shit, a lot of places you play pool, popping at night, a lot of pincho, you can eat, fritura, lots of things to eat within that same exit. Both ways on that avenue, it's always popping. There's tiny little bars and shit everywhere, right next to each other. A bunch of bars. So, few weeks passed from that night, because I used to go to La Perla almost every day. I used to be a regular in that motherfucker, just to drink and smoke all night long. We go in there, start playing pool, right? Get this fucking pool game started, drinking, doing our thing. And out the bathroom comes Chapo Guzman, looks at me. It's like, oh my goodness, it's you again. It's like, oh my goodness, it's Chapo. Like, not in my head, but you recognize the guy who pulled the fucking pistol out. You recognize the guy who pulled the pistol out, the cop. And he's, still packing. You see the piece on that motherfucker right there, just packing. Boy packing, playing his pool. He looked like a DT at this point. At this point, in Puerto Rico, even though the fucking firearm was absolutely encrusted in diamonds, he looked like a police officer, because that's how a DT or a that's how a detective in Puerto Rico would look like. He would look casual, long sleeve or whatever, and he would either have the badge in his pocket, in his neck, and the gun would be visible if he was a DT. So Chapo's out there looking like a fucking DT. With a fucking diamond shit going in and out of the bathroom. They doing coke in that motherfucker in the bathroom right there, son. Playing pool, drinking medalla, having drinks. A whole good night. And Chapo did that same shit again. That same shit he did with the fucking gun, he did the same shit again in that place. Right in front of us. Again. This time a little closer. So you got a little taste of the man's action. And nobody panicked. Everyone's drunk, high, doing their shit in this club and this motherfucker. That's how Puerto Ricans are. To me, if someone comes out of nowhere and it's somebody I don't know, aims the gun on my face, I know he's harmless. He's not going to kill me, so I'm not going to run away and scream like a little girl for my life, If it's someone I know, even worse. I'll stand there and I'll look at you like, bro, you aim a gun on my face, I'm going to shoot it. You're not going to instigate the person to press the trigger, but you're not going to forget them either. And if it's your family member, if it's something that's personal, then you're never going to forget that motherfucker. You're going to hold a grudge. Because it's something that you would never do to a family member. But if someone related to your family were to aim a gun at you for no reason and then walk away for nothing, just to try to shake you a little bit, just to test your nerves a little bit, you'd be like, nothing happened. What are you going to do? I don't pack heat. I don't even have smoke. I don't even, I'm not involved in whatever the fuck these cocksuckers are involved in Puerto Rico. So all I did was give him my money because I wanted to smoke weed and drink. That's all they knew from me is take $5 and walk away. So they're doing coke in that motherfucker, and Chapo did the same exact thing he did in La Perla that night, with the same super special, from the same way, at the same speed. We're playing pool. You could see a clear view outside to the road outside within La Marginal on that avenida. Either, I don't remember, Estatal or Palito, which is associate police officer. There's 2 types of police officers in Puerto Rico, green kind and blue kind. The one in La Perla, it was a blue kind, and he just fucking swung that shit within a microsecond to see in the hood. A microsecond. He knew it was a car by just looking at the fucking hood. Before the lights came through, he was already just in action. So we're sitting there playing pool. I look to my left like this, playing pool, and my man's went like this again, but quick as a motherfucker too, like this. What? Before the car drove by again, like, bruh. It's like just you look at a doorway, right? You looking at a fucking doorway. Which way? Yeah, this way. You looking at a doorway, right? You look at a doorway, and the car. All you see is this, bruh. This is the doorway. Look. Imagine both my fingers like a doorway. My thumb is like the fucking hood of the car, from a distance. The hood of the car, bruh, like this. Chapo's reaction speed by here, without seeing the lights, without even seeing the first fucking wheel. My man's pulled in it. Pulled that shit. Just unholstered, not even holstered that motherfucker. Just he had a quick draw. Motherfucker had like 10,000 agility. He just like, most people would have shot themselves in the back, in the ass, or shot behind them at the speed this motherfucker pulled out that shit. And I'm pretty sure, I look at the files of who they got, and that's not Chapo. Chapo is way better looking than that guy than they got in California. They let him go. The United States, in my opinion, this is Enrique Daniel Roman Bonilla, DOB 1985. The guys you got, United States, FBI, whoever the fuck's gonna watch my video, that ain't Chapo, my guy. That guy's ugly. He ain't attractive. He doesn't have the height. Because Chapo isn't fucking tiny and disgusting looking. Chapo is cute, tall, and burly. He isn't fat and round. You know? And you know for a fact that drug kingpins could have doubles, triples. If social media could push 2-3 artists at the same time with doubles and put them in two places at the same time. If society can have 2 to 3 Kim Kardashians around the world sometimes and not tell which one's the real one just from a distance or for pictures, imagine what a drug kingpin could do. So, in my opinion, the Chapo that the United States has in Colorado isn't the real one. That's just the decoy. That's just to make America look better in the war of crime. The real one is likely still doing whatever the fuck you gotta do. And to confirm it, you gotta see him. You gotta face the man. To confirm that this man exists still, and it isn't the guy that's in jail, you have to just see him or recognize him like I recognized him in the past to tell you this man's still free. Because he is big, he isn't tiny and round, he isn't short. Chapo is not the Chapo that the fucking feds caught. That's not Chapo. Point blank. End of discussion. End of discussion, my guy. And that's how I'm going to leave it here. That's the end of my stream. That's going to be like the little shit. And like, I think this one's a little sharp, and then this one is not sharp. It's a little way out. Freaking, the feds think they got Chapo locked up in Colorado and some shit in Supermax trying to break his brains. That man suffering in there, that isn't fucking the leader of Sinaloa. The leader of Sinaloa is out there, looking good, better than ever. Cocaine don't let you die, my guy. Methamphetamine doesn't let you die. That shit don't kill you. That shit makes you look prettier and embalms you, like an embalming fluid around you. You stay hot forever. You stay good looking forever. You know? You don't turn up with skin diseases, balding, and dying around narcotics. You get prettier. You get hotter looking over time. The more you got, the prettier and the nicer you look. Because that, you know, you're forcing your body to look. You're forcing your body by doing drugs, especially these upper drugs that aren't destructive like cocaine, to look better. Your teeth, thanks to hydrochloric acid, get whiter. You get skinnier. You're better looking. Point blank. Those who do a lot of, you could tell the difference in looks between someone that's a fucking cocaine fiend and it's like a respected member of society and how they look, and they consume cocaine maybe on the weekends, versus how they look when they don't fucking use anymore. And they turn fat, ugly, deformed nose. They aren't whomever the fuck they were before. And that's the power of cocaine. Cocaine, the same way it destroys you, it sort of makes you look good or makes you feel good about yourself. And you start perfuming yourself and you start, becoming a better person because of it. Or you start refining the blade to look better when you do cocaine. You start looking to shave, haircuts, good clothes or whatever. That's what cocaine does to people. And bottom line, the Chapo the feds got in Colorado, that ain't him, my guy. Everyone knows that ain't him, my guy. He ain't balding and got gray hair. Chapo has perfect hair. Perfect black, straight hair. But I mean perfect. It's gonna look like a cabeza ñema for the rest of his life. Straight black hair. Not the old guy that they wanna, that frail guy. No, he's still free. It's just like, do you think they killed Pablo Escobar? Hell no. Pablo died in his sleep of old age a long time ago. They thought they killed him, but they never killed that man. And it's the same story with Chapo. The only way you could prove this shit is by the old guy that that it's Chapo coming straight to you and saying, I know you, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's Chapo, oh my God, that's how life is. I'm giving you the story. Quick draw, agility to 100, that was Chapo. That's how I remember Chapo. The fastest fucking draw I've ever seen anyone. Ever. For no reason whatsoever. He wasn't even aiming at a person, just aiming at the vehicle. Making sure he has his sights at the car before the car gets there. That's how fast this guy was. But I mean, like, and the thing's out and in front of him. I don't think even police have that type of draw. Police can't do what he did. Maybe some police could do it. Maybe some military people could do it at the speed he did it. But he was quick. He was really quick with that shit. And remember, I'm street. I'm from the hood in Puerto. I'm definitely a homeless guy from Puerto Rico. But a homeless guy who's sort of the same way like I was in New York City, that hung out and had places to sleep sometimes and dealt with that shit. I got to absorb my local environment in a type of way that allows me to communicate what I experienced in ways most people wouldn't even have the balls to talk about. Yeah, it was quick. And unfortunately, the feds got the wrong guy. You want to claim him the feds are going to start pulling evidence on my ass. Feds going to try to pull evidence. Oh, his fucking fingerprint, his connection, his phone number, who he knows, his dog. Oh, that's another thing. When we met him, he had his fucking sobrina with him. Tiny little girl. Tiny brown head little girl. And he was doing that fucking firearm shit next to us with her too. Literally sat her nephew or her niece right between where we were playing pool that night. That night when he was asking for the chamoy and tahin, he had the same little girl with him. Some real shit. Chapo was a free man around us. And we didn't know he was one of the most powerful people in the world back then. And this was early in my life in Puerto Rico. Early. Most powerful motherfucker ever. The powerful motherfucker. And I'm known by like Paris Hilton since I was like 13. I've known Paris Hilton since I was like 16. I mean, since she was about 16, 17. So, it's real shit. Fucking the most powerful motherfucker. Right there. Playing pool with us. On the next thing. Right there with two of his other associates. Geeked out of their fucking mind. Like this. On that cocaine. Like this. You can see it in their eyes. They're geeking. Like, oh my goodness. The guy's high as hell. We're drunk, chilling. Smoking cannabis. Playing pool. Chapo hit it. Chapo hit it. He snorted that shit. He did. He was high. He's getting high on his own supply and that motherfucker in Puerto Rico. And if you time both things, if you time the time when I was in that particular location that he was in, he was freshly how do you call it? He escaped prison in Mexico when he was in Puerto Rico. He escaped Mexico and likely ended up in Puerto Rico, and I think him in Puerto Rico helped him to some extent. He was, because Puerto Ricans are really, really corrupt in terms of drugs and all that shit. So I'm pretty sure he was helped in Puerto Rico for a little bit to bounce up, and that all of this was before the Feds had his eyes on him. Because if the Feds had his eyes on him, I think news media or something would have alerted my ears about El Chapo. But fucking, I didn't know about El Chapo until maybe 6-7 years later or some shit like that. And he was around us. He was one of us. And El Jangueo, one of our buddies. The buddy with the quick draw, like that. The buddy with the quick draw and the nickel plated super special. The nickel plated, baba. JJG. Joaquino JGG. No, wait. JGL. The nickel plate diamonds crusty, baba. Cause I mean a fucking serious gun, son. He used to pull that motherfucker out in the quickness. Like, you ever seen these guys in the westerns that like shoot once just by pulling it out, put it back? Like that quick. Like that. Just fuck. Like shit. like that. That's how fast this guy was. This guy was quick as a motherfucker. And that's the danger. That's the danger about the guy. Like, you start recognizing how dangerous the life of a federal officer, how dangerous a life or the life of a federal officer could be dealing with criminals that have this tactile, tactical ability to draw on them 3 fucking seconds before they even think of drawing that motherfucker. You know? Like, you have to sort of feel sorry about, you have to legally feel sorry about the federal authority, even the FBI. Gotta feel sorry about the man that is going to go up against something that's so violent, because it's just like inhuman. You gotta understand the position. Imagine you, how do you call it? Silence of the Lambs. You're Scully, or you're about to go meet up with Hannibal Lecter, right? You're about to meet up with Hannibal Lecter, and you don't know Hannibal Lecter has the affinity to firearms like a fucking cowboy. You know, has a fucking firearm affinity or the skill to a degree of a Western competition, a fucking cowboy. You know, like something that would see an 8-shooter and take out 10 people with 6 bullets. And just make sure to hit 2-3 guys with 1 bullet. That's how fast this motherfucker was. So then you feel bad for the FBI agent that, you know, this lady. Oh yeah, we'll catch Hannibal Lecter today. I'm gonna go confront them and send them to prison for dismembering people. You feel bad. Why? Because they don't know the type of demon or the type of animal that's inside the cranium of the most dangerous people. You know, the speed, the bravado, the oh my goodness. Like, what? How can you be so skilled? You know, the skill this man had to pull that piece out. The skill, it's just something that's just like, set. Like that. You're sitting there like, what? What's up? Not like, yeah, like in the movies. Nah, more like, like full speed, his body connection towards the piece in some way that is just extremely violent and fast. You definitely know that most people would know that they would die in a type of situation like that. Even a soldier, a military soldier. I trained for the U.S. Army. I would be dead with someone like that. Someone like that that's anticipating anything. anyone would die. Most of the soldiers I know would take a bullet in the face by Chapo. Would have been shot. They think that they hard, and they got this big ass rifle. They could go hunt this guy down, and nah, they get shot in the face at point blank with some violent ass speed that God knows how fast that shit really was. You know, I could tell you how fast that shit really was, and you would need Christ on your side. You would need Jesus Christ on your side. You would need something else bigger than you to protect you from that shit. You would need something to protect you from that shit, because it's gonna be fast as fuck. And you're gonna be sitting there thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna catch Hannibal Lecter today. I'm gonna stay with Lecter and eat with him, right? You know, you're a rookie FBI officer, a female. A rookie FBI officer. Today we're gonna sit down with Lecter. We're gonna have some dinner, and then after dinner I'm gonna tell him that he needs to be arrested. You know, that needs to be arrested and go to jail because he's dismembering and eating people. Or he's the co-author of several murders. And then Scully, or female FBI agent, goes in that motherfucker, think that's all peachy clean, and within a second, Hannibal has a bullet in her eye. She doesn't even anticipate that shit. Doesn't even think that Hannibal's gonna put a bullet in her eye, but in a second, she thinks she's safe, and then pop, done. She's being dragged, and you know, her liver is going to be mixed with some shrimp scampi or some shit like that. Bad is bad. Talk about bad, and you don't sense that evil either. You know, I didn't physically sense that evil when I was around him. It's just another guy that was around us that had a gun. And if you didn't know, in my type of situation, you would think it's just a DT. You know, in the beginning, it was sort of kind of fishy, asking for tahine and chamoy with the shit with the oysters. It was kind of fishy. Who the fuck is that guy with a really shiny fucking super special? But then once he was acclimated with Puerto Rican culture and drinking medalla, he was drinking medalla and playing pool, he looked like a fucking police detective with with the most expensive fucking piece you've ever seen, son, with the most cutest, oh my goodness, you know, you need to see that. And you can see it on the picture. If you search online, you'll know which fucking gun I'm talking about. You'll see it, the super special, or Chapo Guzman super special. He had that piece on. Tiny encrusted diamonds out the ass, diamonds underneath the fucking bullet magazine. You would think he's some fucking cop, or anyone within Puerto Rico would think that's a fucking DT, like that, and be like, oh, look at this cabeza ñema, because the haircut in Puerto Rican culture, if you split your hair down the middle and you look like a Taino Indio, and it's straight, and it's like a dickhead, you know, it's literally like a dickhead, or you have like a bowl cut, what people would call an American bowl cut, a Puerto Rican would call people who have that type of look a cabeza ñema, or a dickhead, because that's what your head would look. So Chapo sort of had the cabeza ñema look, just a little long, a little to the side, split down the middle, and well cut. And I seen him again. That's the second time I seen him. The last time I seen him, which confirmed my ability to pinpoint the Chapo's look in prison in Colorado, and the last time I seen Chapo, whomever the fuck they caught was wrong. Because I seen Chapo in Union Square, including with Cos Marty was there. The fucking cocaine kingpin or whatever was there. Those same days. Cos was there, Tekashi was there, Post was there, Cardi was there, Fat Joe was there, everyone was there, including Anuel AA, the rapper. Fucking Chapo Guzman was in Union Square, and I recognize him because my brain is like this. Caught him. He had two associates with him, and he had a cap, like nice little cap like this, two guys next to him, and I'm like, Chapo, I know this guy. You know, like, I know this guy. This guy's what the fuck is the leader of Sinaloa doing here in New York City? They sort of approach me. I'm sitting there on the pipe with my bag right here, with my skateboard just sitting on the pole at night, maybe like 10:30 p.m. 10 p.m. at night, not too late, but not too early. Union Square was kind of packed, kind of packing, you know. There was a lot of people there. So Chapo looks at me, notices that I recognize me, looks at me, approaches me, gets to like right there, looks at me like this, and then looks forward. He recognized that I recognized him, and I had a huge fucking beard. Huge beard, long hair. I look at him with the eyes that I know you. You know, like, and that inviting, warm attitude that if Enrique Ramon Bonilla knows you, he's looking at you in a positive way. He's not looking at you or not. If I don't care about you, I'm not even going to look at you. You know, and he knows that with the way I looked at him, I recognized who the fuck he was. So he walks from that group, stares at me, and then leans back into the pole right in front of me, like right in front of where the statue is, leans back like this, pulls out a phone, start looking at a phone. His two associates approach him, and they go out that way, looks at me again down there, like this, looks at me, así con la carita así como que, I know you. Like, I know you, you know, like that. The Chapo Guzman looking at me with this face like, I know you. And he goes, I'm like, oh my goodness, Chapo. Oh shit. And then I ignore him. My brain in that moment after seeing Chapo for the last time, my brain was like, forgot about it. But I remember. But it became like another day. And then maybe like an hour, 2 hours later, 6ix9ine appears. Tekashi appears and sits down right next to me. Next to the same pole, the same area, repeating another night we've done for a fucking 3-4 years. 6ix9ine appears out of nowhere. Danny Hernandez, I think, with tattoos already, because he started tatting his face and shit. He started changing like an artist. Tatting his face or whatever, sits down right next to me, sitting here like this. I think we were staying in the same. I was already staying in his house already, within Brooklyn, because we were staying. I was staying with some friend of mine and his girlfriend, or just crashing wherever the fuck they crash, because they have many places to crash. So I was always following them around because I had a place to crash and maybe shower. I went on vacation. I went on a vacation with them. I basically slept wherever with whomever they knew, protecting them sort of when they consumed their drugs. They liked doing hallucinogenics. So they were involved in they liked LSD and shrooms and all that shit. So I was sort of like their protector. Like I was the sober kid. They knew I was leaving to the army, so they would do stuff like do LSD and shrooms or whatever, being around me, and I used to, watch around, make sure nothing happened to them, or recognizing what they were doing. I was just technically their security guard to some extent, and staying with them and cooking for them, and they would cook for me, and I would go to the supermarket and get food or whatever. But I'm still U.S. Army, U.S. soldier. And I forgot about Chapo. After that, never seen him again. But his burliness, his manliness, his libido, his life. How you see a man and you recognize a man, you recognize a man's temples, you recognize a man's face, his jaw, his eyebrows, his head. You recognize the same man you remember from the past. A little bit stronger, a little bit older, a little bit more mature. A little bit more powerful. I saw him there, older and a little bit more, still old, but powerful. His big mustache, he had some might into him. He was mighty. When he approached me and then leaned back and got his phone, started looking at the phone, and his two guys, you could feel that he was a little bit more stronger. He wasn't that much of a bebelata. He wasn't drinking that much anymore. He was a little bit more stronger. And that's why, putting 2 and 2 together, 3-4 more years, then the feds caught him and sent him to New York City. That wasn't the guy, my guy. That isn't him. I know the Chapo these motherfuckers got ain't Chapo. Chapo. It's the one. If you see the pictures with the AK or with the fucking M16 in a field in a picture, and you compare that man, which is the same man that I remember from the past. There's a picture of Chapo in within his files online that you see him like a white shirt, blue jean, red cap, and like an M16. And you could see his face, and you could see the way he looks, and that's the same guy that I remember from the past. You can see how the definition, basically how he is. I could recognize the difference in two people, and obviously the massive disparity in whom the fuck the FBI caught. It's just a bait and switch. They baited society saying that they caught this guy, and we know for a fact. I personally know for a fact that Chapo's still free. I just gotta confirm it. Chapo gotta come to me again and say, "Oh, tú, Secure, hola, ¿te recuerdas de mí? Like that? Do you remember me?" Like that. I'd be like, or if I have the balls, and he would come to me out of nowhere, I'd be like, "Yo sé quién tú eres." Like that. He'd be like, "What?" Like, yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, it's serious shit. It isn't a joke. Talk about the leader of Sinaloa here. Like, this isn't no conspiracy. And there's no passion. I feel no passion in the topic inside of me. It's just my thoughts flowing. And it's the real thing. For a fact the Feds don't have the right guy. The Feds just picked up whomever the fuck they could biometrically seal as the person. They picked up whomever the fuck they wanted. And that's not JGL, my guy. They wish they got JGL, but the FBI and the man they're torturing right now in Colorado ain't Chapo. And that's on God. Kill my mama today. My mama died today. My grandma died today. I died today. Sign my will. Kill me like an anime on Death Note. In my sleep. Or shoot me to death. That ain't Chapo, my guy. Chapo free. Chapo a free man. Still running this shit behind the scenes. Chapo free. Or maybe even separated. Maybe he doesn't even do that shit anymore. Maybe he still... He used that news to retire. He used he used his arrest or whatever to slow down his operation and sort of give up his post and give him and make his followers or his people believe that he's locked up. Basically giving him a clean slate. Like faking your suicide or faking your death. Whatever happens with the cartel now, it's whomever the fuck is, and I'm free to go with all this money. And he wasn't about a lot of money. He wore really cheap clothes and he had really expensive shit. He liked to own expensive shit, but he wasn't someone that had an affinity for expensive stuff. He liked specific expensive shit. He wasn't out there in fucking Louis Vuitton. He's out there cheap shit, wearing cheap stuff, consuming what other people like. He wasn't drinking martinis or acting the drug kingpin part with fucking, how do you call it, with fur coats and properties everywhere. Nah, use cash. He'd take some money from you and walk away, likely. Just like Fetty Wap. That 1.5, if he was dealing with that man, Chapo probably came in that motherfucker, took from that motherfucker 80 grand in cash or only the hundreds and left him with all that money. Recognizing he still owed it, but just came in, grabbed a little and kept walking. Like that. That's probably what Chapo did if Fetty was involved with Sinaloa. Like that. Just to have a lot of money, the rebuy of these motherfuckers. So eventually that money gonna end up in their hands anyway. But the boss would come through and grab some money and walk away. to pay someone to do something. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Not the whole fucking $1,000,000. 50, 60, 70 grand, 80 grand and shit. Don't forget, Enrique Danny Ramon Bonilla told you that the Chapo these motherfuckers got ain't Chapo. Chapo, the Chapo you think is Chapo ain't the Chapo. The Chapo I know is Chapo is still free out there doing whatever the fuck he wants. And yeah, you know, gentlemen recognize other gentlemen, my guy. You know, gentlemen. It's like you could tell, gentlemen. It's easy to discern someone from a gentleman to somebody that's not a gentleman. The person who they caught isn't the man. The man, the way I saw him, couldn't have deteriorated 5 years later, turning into that ball of shit. Not ball of shit, but you know, by the time they caught him, the FBI, he was extremely deteriorated. He had psoriasis, he was balding, he had a really pop. That wasn't him. That's not Chapo. Chapo is the campesino that I saw with the white hat in Union Square. Big black mustache, broad shoulder. The same guy. That's the guy. You know, not this little tiny guy that's frail. Nah, it's just you could tell it's him. You know, puff, pass. You know, old, because he was old already, but could move his weight, and tall too. He wasn't chaparrito. He wasn't short. That's the big difference, you know. That's what the media is trying to, confuse you in that type of shit, or trying to tell you that we won the war. We got Chapo. We're not. We didn't win the war, my guy. The war is still on. Chapo just conceded his seat. He just conceded. He walked away from that shit. He used the opportunity for the feds to catch the wrong guy, to walk away from his $1 billion empire. Not walk away, but liquidate and go live his life unnoticed. Like, do you really believe the real Chapo is the one in the prison? Hell, those that recognize him, hell no, that ain't him. That's just him. That's someone who likely would have been involved in it, but it wasn't him. That's not him. You know, it's like Pablo Escobar. You really think Pablo died of being, you really think Pablo was massacred? Hell no. Pablo died of old age. He walked out of that shit unscathed. You know, nothing happened to the guy. To those people, nothing happens to them. They're way too special for society or for those that are around them. They could get anywhere. They have the power to do anything. They have a lot of power. People have a lot of influence, a lot of power. They could do anything. Chapo then, if you see the documentary, he used to be calling up the president of Mexico, like, "What's up, my guy?" You know, like that, just like communicating with his boy, just like, "Yeah, what's up, my boy? Chilling. Yeah, hey, we're gonna move some of that shit. We're gonna move that shit tomorrow. Alright, knowledge." Like that. Hey, I need some money for my golf course. Okay, I need some money for the new resort. I need some money for the infrastructure. I need some money for new cement. Cemento. Chao cemento, inversión, edificio. And Chap would be like, yeah, fuck it. Like that. Puerto Rico, in my opinion, there must be billions of dollars of his drugs still in Puerto Rico. There must be billions in cash of his that are still being distributed out, or loteria, in these narco motherfuckers, and there must be an insane amount of drugs and PR under his name still. Man, that shit doesn't just go away. You gotta understand, these guys store drugs to infinity. They hoard shit they hoard drugs like if it was a fucking bodega. They haven't run out of that shit. There must be. Chapo's been locked up for an eternity. I know Puerto Rico's going to be selling his shit for an eternity. And his money's there too. and his money's there, making it even crazier. That they know for a fact that they could die if they lose that money. So all that money just keeps piling up, and nobody's grabbing this money back. Nobody's coming to come get this money. Crazy shit, right? Don't forget, Enrique Roman giving you the fucking facts, the truth, the real shit. It doesn't get better than this. This bull's tongue. This is someone that's spent too many years in college and too many years on the street to explain it to you in some other way. Put me as whatever you want. Frame me as a drug trafficker, frame me as a murderer, frame me as someone who abuses. I'm the nicest guy out there. I'm the truth teller. Just like 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine is a little bit more violent than I am, but I'm just a truth teller. And I don't take bribes from nobody. That's the best thing about me. I don't take bribes. I don't sell. I don't have an affinity for money like most people do. That's what makes me special. I'm poor because I want to be poor. You understand what I'm saying? I recognize that being poor, not being poor, but how do you call it? Not having this affinity for greed other than your own earned money is makes you feel good. Or you don't expose yourself to that risk. Because if I would have taken money from any of these people that have tried to give me money in my life for no reason whatsoever, I probably would have been fucking shot, robbed, followed, stalked. I wouldn't have this computer that I have, the little one right here. I would have been, I would have been abused. My whole life would have changed thanks to other people's perception of what they should do between the dumb and the not dumb, I'm a dumb to most people. Dummy. I'm stupid. Stupid. You don't take money? I don't take money from no one. You good though. You good though. I'll take it for you. There's no need for it. I'm too easy. I'm toasted bread on ham and butter if there's no cheese. And it's so fucking delicious. I might have some right now. But it's so fucking delicious. Like I'm simple. I'm a simple guy. I'm not sitting here Lamborghini, Ferrari, trips, all that bullshit. I'm not even saving the money or having all this cash on me. Not worth it. Most people would take all the opportunities that I've received and they probably spend all someone else's money and have nothing today. I'd rather not take and keep the friendship. And don't forget, Chapo. The Chapo the feds got ain't fucking Chapo. The real Chapo is the one that you see in the fucking picture. Look for a picture on the internet of Chapo Guzman that he has an M16 and has a cap, big mustache, white hair on jean, and he looks like a farmer. He has a farmer body that you could see like, yeah, I run shit. That's Chapo. That's the Chapo I remember. Tough guy. Like you could see that he has a built frame. A built shoulder frame, a built body. Not the really tiny, bald, old, psoriasis face, big belly guy. He didn't deteriorate that fast. It's two of them. And it's the second guy. It's just to win a drug war. Or it's just the story society tried to sell you. Real people recognizing that that's not the guy, my dude. You guys got the wrong guy. You guys got the wrong fucking guy, my guy. That ain't him. Like when you guys, and then the feds be like, nah, we got fingerprint, we got evidence, we got this guy calls the same people he calls, he got this and that, bro. That's the fucking dummy. That's the clone, my guy. That's not him. Let this man go, and then you let him go, and would you let him go? I don't know. I have mixed feelings if we should let Chapo go. Because remember, there's trafficking involved. If Chapo was just a man of his word, right, and only distributed like weed, heroin, or whatever without the trafficking, nothing would be wrong. If he were to be just a farmer, which most of the cartel guys are. You're looking at fucking weed farmers. That's the funniest shit about it. You think most people in society think of some cartel member as some dangerous motherfucker that will decapitate you. And you look at a cartel member and they have a fucking $5 scissor in their hand and a cigarette and some beer in the other, trimming bud up from their cultivo, about to make bricks. And you see like a hip hop artist. You look at a hip hop artist today, and they look way more dangerous than a cartel member, with like the sawed-off shotgun and 30 clip, double round Tommy Gun magazine on that motherfucker. Like, you look at the hip hop artists, and they look 10 times more in way more demeanor, you know, more evil demeanor than what a cartel member would do. A cartel member would sit there, take care of animals, roosters, maybe play gallos or rooster fights, maybe take care of some animals, and then sit there with 2 of his buddies or 3 of his buddies in a rancho or whatever and start trimming fucking bud from what it seems to infinity to make a couple bricks. You know, that's just someone else's job. That's what other people would do in other places of the world. Looking at, you know, geographically, that's what all these motherfuckers would do naturally. So Chapo is technically one of these peasants from Afghanistan who made a bunch of fucking dope with sugar and is trying to traffic it into Holland or whatever, or into Spain through the canal, Portugal, Spain, you know, Middle East, South, North, into England and shit. It's the same thing. You know, a sand Muslim guy with a turban doing the same shit he does with the opium or whatever. It's fucking Chapo. 2 guys, one under perfect execution. One that's a little bit better than the guy in Afghanistan. Just a little bit. Not a massive difference, but a little bit better. Because this guy has guns, this guy has ability to move it, this guy has the power of moving people, because, you know, cartel members are sort of glorified in their culture. They're fucking gods, son. We're talking about the person I'm talking about could send a Mexican into tears, because they're their saint patrons. They're their fucking saints. They sent them to tears. You're looking at someone, I'm like an apostle of these motherfuckers. An apostle. Okay, I'm talking about your saint, you know, in terms of Mexican drug lord culture. I've been next to the saint, you know. I know the saint. I've seen the saint come and go many ways in my life. And that's the only difference in terms of the Afghanistan man, you know, evil drug distributor versus the cartel member. This guy is glorified as a god. This guy is literally considered lore, god, mythical. You know, this guy's mythical. This guy has the means to transport. This guy could win people, you know, obviously because of the mythical, because he's, you know, a saint. So he has people, and they have a, you know, they have competition. This competition is another thing that makes them really dangerous. That's what society would look at. They start murdering each other for change. Do you think they make a lot of money in drugs in Puerto Rico, in fucking Mexico? Nah, man, they making money. They killing themselves for a little money. You know, rival gangs in Mexico kill themselves for petty, because there isn't that much money. So yeah, I'm gonna shut down the stream. I've talked a lot today. Hope you guys enjoyed my conversations. R.I.P. to Fetty Wap. Alright, you know, Fetty Wap is not dead, but he's about to do life in prison for distribution of 100 kilos, which started this whole drug conversation. And it's always the least likely, the fruity one, the one that poses no threat, or the one that, oh, my son can't do that shit. It's the one that be doing the worst shit. At least I'm open with it. I'm not fucking sitting there hiding shit, you know. Yeah, I'm definitely not involved in trafficking fucking bricks, but look at, you know, Fetty Wap. You see Fetty Wap? Do you think Fetty Wap during his life looks like a person that would do that shit? Nah. And they let him slide. The Fed let that boy slide out the first brick, second, 2, 3, 4 bricks, maybe even 10 bricks. The feds had to know by the 30th brick that someone snitched. You know, they had to know, but they let him slide because he was Fetty Wap. He's missing an eye. You know, it's like, it's like going through New York City with a guy with a wheelchair calling him a drug kingpin. Oh, that's a drug kingpin right there. Yeah, I'm a drug kingpin. Suck my dick. You know, and you're on a wheelchair. They pity you. Not they pity you, but they're going to look at you differently. If you deal crack and you're on a wheelchair, I think, how do you call it? Snoop Dogg did this perfectly in the movie, that he was a crack dealer from a wheelchair. I remember Snoop Dogg's movie and he did that. And society looks at you different because you're in a fucking wheelchair. And if you're missing an eye, and if your music is fruity, you know, or if your music isn't hard, doesn't have that much 808, the way you spit your bars isn't hard, you're technically not about that shit. You know? Literally not about that shit. You know, it's like psychologically people aren't going to see you that you're about that shit. But case closed. Feds came, got Fetty, 1.5 million, 100 bricks. It's the guy that you know, your next door neighbor is the dangerous motherfucker. Your next door neighbor, my guy, you know, like at least the 13-year-old kid right next to you. You know, like the most innocent, nicest. Oh my goodness, this and that. That's the bad person. That's the worst person. Yeah, that's the worst one. It's crazy. Society's becoming more degenerate by the day, and we're experiencing this, you know, at a greater alarming rate. People are changing so bad and they're turning so bad. They're turning for the worst every day to just get caught as horrible people. And an artist too. Because if he was broke, it'd be different. But he fucking made money of that shit. All you have to do is just sit on his money a little bit. That's all you need to do. When you have a little money, when you make 60 cents a day, you have to sit on those 60 cents and value the time you take to make 60 cents. You can't just be jumping into conclusion and spending 200 because everyone else spends 200. Nah. If you take 3 months to spend 60 cents, you can't touch that shit. Are you really going to spend fucking 3 months of your life to make 60 cents? And that's how life should revolve for everyone. You spend an hour a day making this amount of money. Should you really spend 40 hours a week to buy something at the end of the week? You keep that shit. You eat from the garbage if you have to. You know. Make ends meet. Make ends meet in such a way that you're able to keep more of what you're working, because that's the whole point. Why are you going to go to a gold mine to mine gold to keep no gold? You're working your ass off in that motherfucker. You're driving every day to work. You have a mine of gold to mine. You can extract money from a corporation. You can extract money from a corporation to infinity. But they go and spend their shit and then blame others or get in trouble like Fetty Wap for fucking trafficking. And you know he's dealing with Chapo. There's no other way. 100 bricks, you're dealing with Chapo, my guy. You're dealing with a saint. You see, you fell for it. Right? You fell for it. You just fell for it. I don't know. You wanted to be hard. You want to be bad about it. And now he's going to be bad about it for the rest of his life in prison. Alright, so I'm going to shut down my stream. Tomorrow I got free. It's already my day off. I'm going to lay down probably after this. I don't know what I want to do right now. Maybe have just one more candy. I ate all the Laffy Taffies. And I got a Sweet Tarts. Yeah, I ate all the good ones. But I got some lollipops. And I still got a sugar daddy. So, It was a really weak Halloween, but I still got something out of it. Did you trick or treat? I trick or treated. I enjoyed my freedom because in the United States, every Halloween, in certain spots, you get book bags full of candy for free. And it doesn't give a fuck if you're 50. Go out there and trick or treat. Support your fucking holidays. Because if you don't want to support your holidays, why fucking 10 years no kids be doing it? Because the parents never fucking got them their costume, or they never told them, hey, we're gonna trick or treat. So, final word of the stream is, you got kids, you're old, go and trick or treat. Do it. Haven't done it in a while, but I did it today. I decided, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna walk, and I know for a fact I'm gonna encounter some kids or some candy. Let's go get some. Let's go get some candy, my guy. Let's walk around and ask for some candy or look for some candy, because people are leaving candy for us, and we need to support the movement. Support Halloween. No matter how fucked up society is, if you don't support Halloween, Christmas, New Year, and all that shit, all that bullshit dies in society's conscience. Like, from so much fun to nothing, to emptiness. 9 p.m. like today, empty. No children on the street. Like, oh, it's 9 p.m. on a Sunday. Fucking streets should be packed. You know? Packed. And it wasn't cold either. It wasn't fucking cold. It was nice. Packed. Left and right. But no. Like it wasn't before. Before, packed. But I mean packed to infinite. Not packed, but at least 60 people in one block. Both ways. Like this, and that. And intersections full of people. And that was 7:30, 9 p.m. I got out today at 9. Searched around. Empty. Like if everyone fucking died. Or like if the kids that, or like terms of generation wise, all those kids that trick or treat grew up and don't want to trick or treat no more. But I got candy, I did it. So yeah, I'm gonna shut down my stream. Hope you guys stay out of trouble. Hope you guys stay out of trouble and enjoy what I got to say today. So I had a little fun with you guys today. I had a little fun. And I am I'm probably just going to lay the fuck down. It's already 2. All this candy in my belly, hopefully I pass out. Alright. Peace. That moment when you look at your iPhone camera or your iPhone stream, and it's like quadrillions of quality from the computer that you own. It's fucking crazy. Like you look at the quality of the stream of what I'm looking at right now live. It's like 1,000% of my computer. 1,000%. The iPad is like, woo, 15 years in quality and in performance. It looks clean. I look at myself. It's like it's me. I look nice. I look nice in that motherfucker. And then you look at my computer. When you try to stream my computer looks like shit. It's a bad computer. It's not as good looking as the iPad. The iPad makes me look crispy. Alright. Have a good night, everyone.